Hello students and welcome to the lecture. So students, as we know that we are covering the key national institution, and in this lecture basically we are going to start with another important key national institution. I hope that you have revised the previous ones before you have arrived for this lecture, but in this lecture we have made some changes which I will show you in this lecture itself. Okay, these changes are basically made so that it will become more easier for you to grasp the topic in a proper standard way. Okay, so let's start this lecture. So basically in this lecture, I have added the index section for you. Like this is the key national institutions we are going to cover in this lecture. Okay, these are the topics about the key national institutions we are going to cover. Like the introduction, like the establishment and the jurisdiction, like the functions and powers, thereafter, licensing and registration, food safety and regulations, state food authorities, consumer awareness and composition. Now, I hope that you have got a little bit idea about the key national institutions we are going to cover in this lecture. Okay, but these topics will be covered one by one. So let's start with the introduction. So basically now we are going to cover the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, which is known as FSSAI. But however, we have made a new change in this lecture, but the previous norm of ours will continue as it is. It means that first will be the full form part, second will be the establishment year, third will be the parent ministry. Okay, so let's start this one by one. So basically, if we talk about the full form, so just write it down. However, you can see it written it here. But again, I'm asking you write it down. Why? Because remember, I had told you, practice makes a man perfect, but writing makes a man exact. Remember these things. Okay. So it is Food Safety and Standards Authority of India. Alright. Second, if we talk about the establishment year, then basically it was established in the year of 2006. And third, if we talk about the parent ministry, then basically it was established under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Okay, so this is the basic introduction about the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India. Full form is the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India. Short form is FSSAI. Establishment year is 2006 and the parent ministry is Ministry of Health and the Family Welfare. Okay. Food Safety and Standards Authority of India is the apex regulatory body responsible for ensuring food safety and regulating the food industry in India. Now we have found the word apex. And what does it mean? It means that suppose if there are A, B, C and D, 4 organizations working for food regulations and food safety, then in this scenario, A will be the FSSAI will be the topmost authority, or you can say apex body. It means that no one will be above the FSSAI. Okay, remember this thing. Now, if we move forward, we found that it was established under the Food Safety and Standards Act 2006. Now, students, it's having its own act. What does it mean? It means that it is an statutory body. Why? Because it's having own rules and regulations. All right. To consolidate various food laws and regulations in the country, for competitive exams, having a detailed understanding of FSSAI is essential. Why? Because questions related to its functions, powers, structure may be asked. Because food is a very important component of the human society and very essential for the survival. There is no one who could survive without food, because food is basically the fuel to body for function. Okay, and if you are not taking the fuel, you are not able to work, and fuel should be the optimum quality. That's why the food regulation is very, very necessary. And when we talk about the FSSAI, so FSSAI is an apex institution who is working for the safety of the food. That's why it is very important for competitive exams to know each and everything about the FSSAI. Let's move forward. Now we have the establishment and the jurisdiction. So basically, as I have told you, FSSAI was established on August 5, 2011 under the Food Safety and Standards Act 2006. Now, there is one scenario, and you will say, you said 2006 was the establishment year, but here it is written down 2011. Why? So the answer is, basically the act was passed in the 2006, and this act is basically the main power source for FSSAI. But the authority of FSSAI was established on 5 August 2011. That's why 2006 should be the correct answer when it's come to the act, and 2011 should be the correct answer when it's come to the authority. Okay, so remember both the years and their relevance in the question. When it's asking about the act, 2006 should be the answer. When it's asking about the authority, 2011 should be the answer. Okay, it operates under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, as I have told you. Okay, now FSSAI is responsible for setting food standards, regulating food safety, and promoting public health in relation to food consumption all over India. All over India. Why? Because it is an apex body in field of food laws, implementation and regulation. Okay, so it's just not only setting the food standards and regulating the food safety, but also promoting the public health in relation to the food consumption because of the implementation of food laws and regulations. All right. Now, let's talk about the functions and powers of FSSAI. The primary function of the FSSAI is to lay down science-based standards for food products and regulate their manufacturing, processing, distribution, and sale to ensure safe and wholesome food for consumers. Now, what we have learned, what we have studied. Primary function. What is the primary function? It's that lay down the science-based standards. Like suppose this is the factory, which name is XYZ, and it is making the food item. Okay, and if this is the authority, or you can say this is the FSSAI. Okay, now the FSSAI wants XYZ to make the food products or to manufacture, process and distribute and sell the food product made by the XYZ in accordance with the scientific standards. Then who is responsible to setting these scientific standards? Like if I'm saying 1, 2, 3 and 4, these steps should be followed while you are doing the manufacturing, processing, distribution and sale. Then who is responsible to make these regulations? FSSAI. If the authority by itself not making the regulations and the plan to the factories, then how they could claim that you are not going through as per the plan we had made? How you could say? If you are not giving them the steps, then how you are saying that these steps should be followed? That's why its primary function is to lay down the science-based standards for food products and regulate their manufacturing, processing, distribution and sale. Like once the authority give them the flow chart or give them the science-based standards like 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now it's the responsibility of the FSSAI to regulate, and it's the duty of XYZ to operate. To regulate. Okay, they are responsible to operate as per the scientific guidelines provided to them. Scientific guidelines providing to them by the FSSAI, and then FSSAI is responsible to regulate the process of manufacturing, processing the food, distribution and sale of the XYZ as per the scientific guidelines provided to them. Okay, this is the first function. Now second, it sets standards for food additives, contaminants, labeling, packaging and hygiene practice in the food industry. Now suppose this is you. Okay, now you want a paratha. It is a North Indian dish. Suppose I am giving you a condition so that you can understand it better. North Indian dish. Okay, many times when it's cooked in the North Indian households, then many people like to have a tomato sauce with it. Okay, now whenever you had purchased a tomato sauce bottle looking like this or this, okay, then mostly you have seen it written down as natural sauce, right? But whenever you look at the ingredients of the ketchup, you will find so many chemicals, additives written down beyond the bottle, which were added to the sauce inside the bottle, and thereafter they are claiming it as a natural sauce. Now, who sets the standards like this percent of additive could be added, this percent of contaminants could be added, labeling, packaging and hygiene practice should be this? Who? The answer is FSSAI. Okay, why I said natural sauce and why I am telling the ingredients? Because I want to tell you the sauce which you are buying from the market is not natural. Okay, that was awareness from my side for you. Okay, so suppose there are X, Y, Z additives, contaminants to be added into the sauce. Then what percentage of X, Y, Z should be added? Suppose I said 10%, 20%, 5%. Total 35%. Total 35% of the chemicals should be added to the sauce so that it will be healthy for consumption and not harmful or having side effects. Okay, but what is happening? Many manufacturers, just because of some unethical practices or saving their cost of production or whatever the practices they are applying, basically they are using 20% of X, okay, 30% of Y, 10% of Z. Now it is the 60%. How much percent is healthy? 35%. How much percent they are adding? 60%. What will happen? It will having the harmful effects and the side effects. Okay. Now, second scenario is like X, Y, Z. Okay. They are adding 20% of X, 5% of Y, 10% of Z. Total is 35%. Now, if they are claiming we are doing it as per the safety standard, like 35% chemicals should be added so that it could not have any harmful or side effects. Yes, we have added 35%. But if we break down this 35%, this should be this one. But what is this? This one. Is this healthy? Or is this as per the standard which should be adopted? The answer is no. So basically, FSSAI having the role to control these kind of practices, set standards for food additives and contaminants. Like if this is scientifically proven that if we added X 10%, Y 20%, Z 5%, and 35% of total chemicals could be added into the sauce and the food items as an additives and contaminants, then it will not having any side effects. Then this should be followed by each and every manufacturer who is making that kind of product. Okay, so it is set by the FSSAI. Okay, thereafter the hygiene practices are must. Suppose this is an flour meal. Just example, this is an flour meal. Now, flour is basically manufacturing the wheat. Okay. So basically what's happened, if you ever seen your mother and if you ever seen any member of your family who is making the food for you, they always care about the flour. Like the flour should be light and clean. Okay. This should be done. But what happened? Suppose there is a factory XYZ who is in the which is in the manufacturing of the flour, but they are not refining the wheat and cleaning the food, but are cleaning the machines, but are using them continuously for faster the production. Okay, so before understanding this condition, let me give a clear example so that you can understand. Suppose this factory works for the 8 hours. Okay, every hour they are making 20 kgs of flour. Okay, so first 4 hours they are making basically 80 kgs of flour. Then they require 2 hours of rest for refining and machine cleaning. Thereafter, for 2 hours, they again making the flour, which is for the 40 kgs. Okay. Now their total production is 120 kgs. But they started doing it unethical. Instead of waiting for 2 hours for refining and machine cleaning, they use it continuously for 8 hours and made 160 kgs of flour. Now their production has been increased, but their quality has been decreased. And not only their quality decrease, but also it poses the threat to the health of the consumer, because it is not refined and it is made from unclean machines. That's why the packaging and hygiene practices are to be ensured. So this criteria should be followed, not this criteria. 4 hours, 80 kgs you are producing, that's good. 2 hours required to refine and machine cleaning, that should be done because of the hygiene practices norms which are to be followed in the factories. Okay. Thereafter, you can continue your production for another working hours. All right. I hope that you have got the point. Now, the FSSAI is empowered to regulate and monitor the manufacture, storage, distribution, sale, and import of food products. Now, let me give an example. Manufacturing is basically conversion of raw material into finished goods. Like as per the previous examples we had taken, wheat into flour. It's a manufacturing. Like I have told you, while doing the manufacturing, the hygiene practices should be done. And this is ensured by the FSSAI, because they provided the proper instruction and guidelines to the manufacturer. Thereafter, storage is very, very important. Suppose the XYZ who having the storage facility to store the wheat. Okay. So, if their storage having the rats and other insects, what they could do? They could inject various bacterial and viral diseases into the food product which is to be used in the manufacturing. Or you can say, suppose if instead of wheat they had stored their finished product, which means their flour, okay, which is to be sold in the market, but again due to the insectal and you can say due to the rat, the flour is contaminated and having bacterial infections. Now if this is selling in the market and the person who is buying it is also buying the threat of the bacterial infection. Okay, that's why the storage facility should be done time to time. Thereafter, the distribution, like the trucks, okay, like the other vehicles which are using to supply the products are clean or not, are properly sanitized or not. Okay, let's suppose there was a truck. Okay, before supplying the wheat or flour, it was supplying the meat and other high potential diseasable products. Okay, and thereafter this truck is now supplying food like the flour or wheat. What do you think? It is good or not? Obviously not, because before supplying the wheat or the flour, it was supplying the meat and other disposable products. It means that it should be first clean and sanitized, then it could be used. That's why the distribution is to be checked. Now the sale. Come back to the sauce. This is the sauce bottle. Okay, now as I had told you, they are marketing their product as a natural, or you can say 100% natural. But when you see the ingredients, it's having XYZ additives and contaminants as 10, 20 and 5% ratio. Total 35% contaminants were added in this sauce. So is it ethical to sell your products as a natural to the consumer when you are using the other chemical sources? So this kind of cases are to be judged and justified by the FSSAI. Okay. Import of food products also judged and done by the FSSAI. Alright. Now, students, basically if we're talking about the functions and we had talked about the establishment, there is one thing which I missed, but now I will continue it here. Basically, before the FSSAI Act in 2006, before it, we had multiple acts operating in India. Thereafter, we consolidated them and then we made the FSSAI 2006 Act. The question is, what were those acts which were in the function before the creation of the FSSAI? So let's have a talk on these acts also. So basically, the first act was Prevention of Food and Adulteration Act 1954. Okay. Thereafter, Fruit Products Order 1955. Third is Meat Product Order 1973. Fourth is Vegetable Oil Products Order 1947. Fifth is Edible Oil Packaging and Regulation Order 1988. And the sixth is Milk and Milk Products Order 1992. So these were all the acts which were consolidated, and thereafter we had formulated a one act of FSSAI 2006, and then we established the FSSAI in 2011. So kindly write down all these acts, because the question may be asked, which of the following acts were one of the acts after merging them the FSSAI formed. Okay, so it is important from the examination point of view. All right. So I hope that all these powers and the other things clear to you. Now Next power and function set. It conducts food safety inspections, audits and sampling to ensure compliance with food safety standards. Now suppose this is a factory. Factory name is XYZ and now they are making the flour. Okay, by using the wheat. Now, how you are able to check the flour which is being manufactured by the XYZ is pure and as per the standard set by the authority, which means FSSAI. Obviously, by seeing them, by seeing the manufacturing and the conversion process, by seeing their distribution process, by seeing their storage process, by seeing their sales audits, right? That's why time to time the FSSAI sends its team to the various manufacturing areas to find out is everything going as per the standards. These kind of things are known as the food safety inspections, audits and sampling. Like if the FSSAI finds something unusual, they took the sample of the product, they go to their lab, they try to find out is anything added to the food products to contaminate, to additive it, or as per not the scientific standards set by the FSSAI. If it is found, then the authority takes the action. Okay. The FSSAI also provides training and capacity building programs to food businesses to enhance their understanding of food safety regulations. Like suppose the XYZ is basically working for the food safety standards. Working for the flour manufacturing. Okay. And they are aware about 1, 2, 3 standards set by the FSSAI. Now, if this is the business entity, they will focus on the business, right? They will not regularly check what are the standards and safeties and what are the steps taken by the FSSAI. They were focusing on their sales, on their profit. That's why FSSAI understand this kind of situations and they conduct regular training to build their capacity and build their understanding and knowledge as per the food safety regulations, so that if suppose 4 and 5 are the new standards added by the FSSAI, so XYZ should be aware about them also. So that's how the business and the authority both could work for the betterment of the consumers of the food products. Okay. So students, basically in this lecture, we have completed the establishment and the powers and the functions. In the next lecture, we will continue with the FSSAI and we will see other factors which we had discussed in the index. Till then, just revise all the facts and figures we have discussed in this lecture and be ready for the another lecture. With this note, let's end this lecture and thank you.